Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pints and Quarts, a show brought to you by the Craft Beer Nation. Tonight kicks off the very first episode of season 3 of Pints and Quarts. We have done 70 episodes. This is number 71, I believe. So we've been doing it for a while now. We've been going hard. The first two seasons kind of ran up against each other, and we decided to take a break because even though we do this for fun, it takes effort, and we have families, and they like seeing us on Thursday nights from time to time. So we decided to take a break around the holidays, recharge our batteries, so that we can come back with you, give you guys some fresh energy and some hopefully some new ideas. I don't know. Maybe we'll come up with something later on. Tonight we actually do not have a guest. We're going to be going about it just the four of us. We're going to talk about a few articles from the past week or so within craft beer, and as per usual, we're going to talk about upcoming releases that you may have gotten your hands on already or have a lot of plans to get your hands on. And we have, I think, a couple of festivals that we're going to talk about. But before we get started, I want to point you to our social media platforms. You can find us on Google Plus, of course. You can find us on Facebook. Just search the Craft Beer Nation. We tweet at CBN Community. You can find us on Instagram at craftbeer_nation. And is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. So, without further ado, while this theme music plays, go and head on over to those social media outlets that I just named, and you can follow us, and we'll, provide some fluff so you can come back and get back to us before the show gets started. So, that said, welcome to Season 3 of Pints and Quarts by the Craft Beer Nation. All right, everybody. Once again, like I said, welcome to Season 3 Pints and Quarts, brought to you by the Craft Beer Nation. Tonight, our panel is Lola Laracy, who's bundled up for some reason down in the state of Florida as if it's that cold. Lola, how are you doing tonight? How are you, Lola?
I'm cold. How are you?
I'm doing well. I can tell that you're cold. Freddie probably has a thing or two to say about cold. How you doing, Freddie, up there in Boston?
Doing good, man. Hanging in there, staying warm, you know. Wishing I was in
Hey,
Jacksonville.
I know, right? You've thrown some shorts if you're down there.
Hell yeah.
Linda Dean in Oregon, Corvallis. Has it gotten cold there yet, Linda?
It got cold for about, I think, maybe 3 hours, and then it went back to being rainy again.
Oh, wow. Well,
We're all soaking wet, but it's a warm rain, and we got plenty of beer up here, so we're all good.
that's right. The problems could be worse, right?
That's right. That's right.
And I'm coming at y'all from Northern Virginia. I don't know why I purposely put so much emphasis on the Southern accent sound when I'm in Northern
You're remembering your
Virginia.
roots, your South
I'm-
Carolina roots.
Technically, I'm up south, right? I'm in Northern Virginia. I'm still in the south. I'm up south. It's a little chilly here. We've had some cold days to remind us that this is still the winter season. But nonetheless, we're so glad to have you guys on. Like I said, we don't have a guest tonight. Next week we will have a guest, Neil Whitty. He's actually one of the, I guess, 9 master cicerones in the world. He's part of the Boulevard Omegang Duval family. I guess now Firestone Walker as well. He's going to be joining us next week, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But until then, you get to look at our mugs tonight and hear us talk about news and beer and festivals. And so let's just go ahead and get right into. Well, before we get into the news, we decided that we wanted to share what we thought. Since it's the first show of 2016, we wanted to talk about what we thought were our best beers of 2015, or the best beers that we had in 2015, regardless of what vintage the beer may be, what year the beer may have been brewed. So, Lola, you wanna start out and tell us what your best beers of 2015 were?
Sure. Jacksonville was very lucky last year. We finally got Funky Buddha. It
Oh,
took a
wow.
while, but I've had 3 different Funky Buddhas, and they're my top 3. Number 1 is Last Snow. It's a coconut porter, and it's just a perfect blend of coconut.
Yeah.
And then the sweet potato casserole, which is excellent. And lastly, the one I got when I went to Total Wine Sunday is called Nibbler. It's a chocolate chocolate stout, and it's really good. So that's number 3.
Does it have actual chocolate in it, or is it just they use some chocolate pale malt or something like that? You don't know?
I don't know. It's so good that I'm thinking they must really go out and do it right. It's called Nib Smuggler. I see it on Untapped now.
It's in, it's
Let's see
interesting
if
though,
this.
that all of your beers have these like really
What?
it's interesting that the three beers that you chose all have like really bold flavors. Like you got the coconut, and then you have the sweet potato, and you got the chocolate. So we kind of see where where your palate is designed. But go ahead.
I love substantial beers. I don't want no wimpy beer. I want to taste what I'm tasting.
All right.
And Untapped says it's the finest, purest cocoa blended with creamy milk porter and fragrant Madagascar vanilla beans.
Oh,
It's got it all. Oh, it smells good.
sounds delicious. All right, Freddie, what were yours?
Yes, sir. Man, 2015 was a great year for me as far as craft beers goes, man. I did, got lucky enough, met some really good people, and I was lucky enough to try stuff, that's not distributed here, of course. Um, so it was really hard. So I'll tell you some of the local ones because actually they kind of fell in some of the best ones. And I mean, you guys can Google them yourselves. Use the Google as a tool, YouTube as a tool. Um, so of course, I'm gonna sound like a homer here, but Trillium's Uppercase um, was a double IPA they released, and that was ridiculously good. And I know we've mentioned that before on the show as well. I think Friday Night Hangouts. Um, and also Trillium's Galaxy 4 Ale. It's a pale ale, excuse me. And I just put it out there because it's consistently really, really good. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful beer, turbid. It definitely fits a New England description of double IPAs. We also had a Treehouse out of Munson, Mass. They're making a huge name as well in the industry. I had a chance to try their Double Shot, which is a coffee stout, and they use some Matcha coffee, and that thing drank ridiculously good. I think it was like a 6.5 ABV beer, not barrel aged. The body on that was ridiculous, like creamy, like if you melted milk chocolate, kind of almost creaminess to it. You know what I mean? Just drank it. It was beautiful. Like it left a velvet coating on your tongue. Jackie O's from Ohio, Black Maple, that was a bourbon barrel stout, that was ridiculous. Westbrook's Mexican Cake speaks for itself. Treehouse Green, it was a double IPA.
Freddie,
Yep.
how did you think Westbrook's Mexican Cake compared to Copper Kettle's Mexican stout?
Copper Kettles had a lot more pepper influence in it. As well as I think the body on the Copper Kettle lacked just a little bit for me. But it was really good. I mean, it's definitely solid. I mean, one of the better ones I've had, I guess, in that kind of style, like chili stout kind of style. But I kind of want to lean to Westbrook, and not because of the hype. I think the body kind of lends itself to it, and I think maybe the Copper Kettle was just a little too spicy, maybe. Not like a habanero, like sculpin spicy. To me, that was pretty, a lot spicier. But
it was more subtle.
Yeah. Westbrook it was more balanced, I think, all in all.
Yeah.
From Linda's area recently, I think I had one last week. DeGard Brewing in Oregon. I had their Citrus D'Assay. It's a tart farmhouse, and that thing was by far one of the best sours I've had, maybe ever. Like,
Oh yeah.
ridiculously good. Like, I was just amazed. Like every sip, I was like, wow. Like I didn't want that bottle to end. Like I was so afraid to like fill up my last glass. I was just like I wish I could cork this forever. Like just sip on it.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much all they do is tart and sour, and
Yeah,
they really specialize in it.
Yeah, that was something special. I was blown away with that beer.
Very nice. Linda, what were your top beers of 2015?
Well, let's see. My 3 go-to beers were number 1, Gilgamesh Filbert Lager, and thanks to thanks to Beer 30 for providing me with Gilgamesh's House Lager today. Any of Gilgamesh's lagers are ones that you are going to want to give somebody who is asking for a bud. And I want a bud, I want a Coors. Here, have a Gilgamesh lager because it actually has flavor, and they're going to go, wow, what have I been drinking? Trash.
Yeah.
My second one was. Yeah, exactly. My second one was
been worthless.
Yeah, exactly. My second one was Ninkasi Otis Oatmeal Stout. The Otis Oatmeal Stout is smooth and sweet. Ninkasi has a fantastic grip on what an oatmeal stout should be. Really thick and really reasonably priced. My third one was Eel River's Organic Porter. I was hesitant to actually try Eel River's beers, but now that I've tried it, definitely a go-to beer. Definitely a go-to porter. Even above my normal Black Butte porter.
Okay.
My specialty beers for 2015 were one, Oregon Trails Bourbon Barrel Porter. This amazing bourbon in every sip. Really fantastic. Number 2 is Surly Darkness for 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Just, oh man, everything all at once. I really wish that bottle had never ended. And my number 1 specialty was Black Butte 27.
I need to get my hands on that. I've passed it by so many times, and then now that I wanted it, it's gone. So,
yeah, exactly. Now it's gone. This is my my cellared bottle for next year.
There you go.
I can't wait to try it up against the next one.
I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
My top beers, not in any particular order. I had a chance to try Santa Claus Baroque out of Austria. It's actually a Doppelbock, but it's an incredible beer. Really nice body, viscous, sweet, malt-forward Doppelbock Santa Claus Baroque. And now I'm going to start sounding like I'm from Boston, and I'm going to sound like I'm copying Freddie, but I have here uppercase, which is Trillium's double IPA. I guess I could say uppercase / Archaic. I mean, both of those were incredible double IPAs. From Trillium, and they're killing it. I think it's only a matter of time before the people start really referring to the New England style of IPA, just the way they refer to as West Coast IPA, East Coast IPA. There's going to be a New England style IPA that looks just like this, that reminds you of grapefruit juice, tastes like grapefruit juice with hops added. That New England style IPA is on the rise. Uncle Jacob Stout from Avery, probably one of the best stouts that I've ever had. Those guys brew some serious stuff.
When you had that, do you remember if it was aged at all? Did you sell it at all? Was that pretty fresh?
No, it was pretty fresh. So that means it was hot, but it was.
Yeah, that's a killer, man.
It was incredible though.
Yeah, those things they age so well too.
Another nod to Freddie is just like he said, the Galaxy Dry Hop Fort Point Pale Ale. It's a pale ale, but it toes the line. I mean, it's almost an IPA. The dry hop with the Galaxy hops, man, that the aroma just straight gives you a passion fruit and watermelon pineapple scissor kick in the face, and you love every bit of it. And there's one from the Mekong down in Richmond, Virginia. They had what they did was they got AleSmith Speedway Stout, and they rendered it with coconut and with coffee, and they called it the Big Kahuna. Probably the best smelling beer I have ever put my nose to, hands down, period. And the flavor was phenomenal. And then right next door to Mekong is their brewery, The Answer, and they have a double IPA, maybe a triple IPA, I can't remember. It's called Mega Blast. I can't remember what all the flavors were in it, but I liked all of them. All the flavors were. I need the flavors. I need all the flavors. All right, so that was in no particular order. I didn't go from top to bottom because they're all these beers can probably stand out in their own category or be a 1A and 1B within their own categories. So no particular order there. So that said, let's go ahead and get into the actual articles. And Lola, I think we want to start out with you. You have some.
Before we go on, Before we go on, I put the comment tracker up because I didn't know how many people were going to be here. I had a fear that it was just going to be me. So I put the comment tracker up. We actually have a comment. Someone named Che Dean. He said, craft beer would? I ain't into no craft diddly nothing. I just wants to chug a bud.
Who's that guy?
So apparently I don't know who he is. Linda doesn't know him either. She thinks
I don't
he's a
know.
troll.
I think he's a troll. I don't know this man.
I don't know, but he doesn't have as refined taste as we do.
Craft beer, what?
All right, so well, Lola, since you got the floor, let's go ahead and let's talk about the article that you had. This about craft beer legislation in Alabama. What you got?
Yeah, I guess I missed the right time to be in Alabama. I left Alabama in 1999, and there was no craft beer. The craftiest it got was Red Stripe. And so now, apparently, there's craft beer. And there's actually Alabama Brewers Guild. And that group is working on revising regulations so that they can do all kinds of nifty things, like actually sell to consumers from their breweries. I can't fathom a world where you can't do that already. Poor Alabama. I left at the right time, I guess. But yeah, they're trying to get regulations so that they can do that. And they want to be able to sell at least 288 ounces of beer per day per customer. So I'm used to people talking about growler size. I never really thought about how much you could actually sell to one person a day. I just didn't really think of there being a limit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if other places have limits. And per year, they want to be able to sell up to 60,000 barrels for retail. The person who's really spearheading this, the president of the Alabama Brewers Guild, his name is Jason Wilson, and he is the president of, well, he's the president of the Alabama Brewers Guild, but he also is president of Back 40 Beer Company out of Gadsden, Alabama, which is about...
I heard of them.
Yep. So he's in Gadsden, Alabama, which is about an hour or so outside of Birmingham. So apparently Alabama's got some stuff going on.
So you said there's a limit to the amount of beer that they can sell to a person, or they can sell as a brewery?
This says per customer. I don't know what the limit is now. It doesn't say, but it says if the regulations get lifted, they would be able to sell up to 288 ounces of beer per day per customer. So I'm guessing that, if they have 40 customers, that's 40 times 288.
I know. Okay, so I guess the better question is that for consumption on site, or is that to go as well? Like, if I wanted to go there and buy 3 cases of my favorite beer, I couldn't do it because Alabama has this law that says I can only buy X amount of beer in a day. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, apparently, I mean, it makes it sound like you can't even buy from the brewer right now because.
Well,
huh?
I think that's in some states with some archaic laws. I think that's the case. Because some breweries they couldn't sell you beer. They could sell you a glass and give you samples, give you free samples. But I mean from what I have read, mostly that's in southern states. The states that kind of came along late to the craft beer game because of being in the Bible Belt and all that stuff. But now, I mean, fortunately, a lot of the states in the South, South Carolina went ahead with the Stone bill. Georgia's coming around with their bill, with their law that they passed recently. Florida is now allowing people to sell beer in 64-ounce growlers, whereas you could either in the past only get 32 ounces or 128. So some of the states in the South, I think, are starting to come around. They're kind of seeing the advantage to being in the economic advantage to craft beer. And now you see states like Alabama and I think Mississippi are going to start coming around. North Carolina right now has a weird distribution law that says that a brewery can only self-distribute if they brew up to 25,000 gallons a year. And they're trying to get that law changed because once they hit that 25,000 barrel threshold, they have to actually sign with a distributor. Oh. So, I mean, it kind of, I guess, on one hand, it does stink for the breweries because now they're limited. There probably some breweries in North Carolina, I would guess, who are intentionally um, uh, stunning their own growth because they don't want to hit that threshold. And North Carolina, in my opinion, is the one that's missing out on this because there's opportunity from an economic perspective for them to gain a lot from what craft beer has to offer. But like I said, these states are starting to come around to it. They're starting to see the benefits to beer, with not just the economic benefit as provided by jobs and things like that, but also beer tourism is a legitimate thing. You know what I'm saying? People go to Cigar City every year for Hunapoo Day because they have Hunapoo, right? That's why they're going there. People went down to
Absolutely. People go to Portland just to visit all the breweries in Portland. So yeah,
right. Actually,
beer tourism, total thing.
I know almost 20 people recently that just went to Funky Buddha's for maple bacon coffee porter release.
Yep.
Exactly. Ask Denver. Ask Denver how much money Gabfa brings in. Go ask DC what Savor does for them. Go down to Charleston and ask them how their hotels sell out when they have Revival. You know what I'm saying? This
Extreme Beer Fest
a
in
legitimate
Boston is
thing.
everything's sold out, man. The hotels are all booked up.
Right. They can't ignore it. They can't ignore what craft beer has become, and furthermore, the potential craft beer has to be even more. Right. So, they're gonna have to reckon with it and start. Either get on the bus or get left. Either get on the bus and try to entice breweries to come to your state, or see people leave your state who have aspirations to open up breweries and go to other states because they have more favorable opportunities there.
Mm-hmm.
So Alabama's getting it, I guess. They're coming around slowly but surely, right?
Slowly but surely, they're the last. They're bringing up the rear.
The last of the Mohicans. Lovely Alabama.
Gotta love it.
All right, Linda, you had an article that was probably Jill, but he's not here with us tonight. He's working late. But you want to talk about your article, Linda?
Well, Brazil, the third largest beer selling place in the entire world, where some of the big names of beer are being sold. Number one being Duchess de Bourgogne, and some of North Coast Old Rasputin, as well as Brewdog. Brazil is gaining a fairly up and coming name in the U.S. craft world. They are going to gain distribution of Kona Brewing through the Craft Brew Alliance. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is, for those who are really concerned about what the Craft Brew label is, Craft Brew Alliance is not technically craft. They are owned 32% by Anheuser-Busch. But they will be distributing the two biggest Kona beers available, which is Kona Big Wave Golden Ale and Kona Longboard Island Lager. Both of these beers are pretty nice beers. I'd take the Golden Ale over the Lager, but they're definitely both.
Is it me or did Linda freeze up?
I think so. She dropped
Okay.
out.
Yep, she lost her connection. She's gone. She came back, left. Okay. I thought when she was talking about Kona just now, I was sure that she was gonna. I thought one of Kona's biggest sellers was their Maui Coconut Porter, which is Trizash, because you don't hardly get any coconut. You don't hardly get any. I tell you what, they might have had a foothold in the coconut game, but that wasn't until Death by Coconut came out and other breweries started, putting more coconut in their beer. That coconut porter is whack, but and I don't feel bad because they're 32% owned by Bud, so whatever.
I feel bad for Brazil.
Well, I mean, hey, it's a step in the craft direction, right? It may not be craft, but you're going from macro to crafty, and then the next step is craft, right? So baby steps. I guess that's the silver lining. That's the silver lining in the cloud, right?
Absolutely.
So you don't if sometimes the ship is so big, turning it 1% is a big difference. It you know whatever. I'm channeling my inner Barack Obama here. Uh,
Oh my God.
uh, all right, so Freddie, you had an article. We're going all around the world tonight. We went from Alabama to Brazil,
Right.
and now Freddie's about to take it to Hong Kong. What you got, Freddie?
Yes, so basically, so this article was basically about a brewery in Hong Kong called Young Master Ales. I believe it opened around 2013. Um, and it's kind of cool. Well, so the brewery is obviously based in Hong Kong, in China, and the partial owner, I'm gonna mess up his name, so please excuse me, is Rohit Dugbar. He's from New Delhi, India. He actually studied in Dartmouth in New Hampshire. He was, I think, his economics. Ended up getting a job in in China, and took off. And he had a love for beer. He it mentions kind of pretty much how he kind of fell in the influence while he lived over here in New Hampshire, the New England area. Went down, moved to New York after school. Um, had a really, some good experience with craft beer. Took off, and he noticed how, pretty much in China, they one of the big things that he noticed originally was that it had like a huge beer consumption, but not too much profit in there, and pretty much only because they were only really allowed a lot of the macro breweries um, and trading for so once that kind of changed the game pretty much. Um, he decided pretty much like he got some guys said we should try doing this. He won a homebrewing competition in Hong Kong, and he brought a lot of American style ales over there. He talks about how he used Australian Galaxy hops. He made a pale ale, which is kind of funny. We were just talking about something similar to that,
Yeah.
uh, and he made like a black IPA. And he's really, really killing it. So pretty much the article is how now he's drawing local flavors from Hong Kong, some of their again, ingredients. Basically, you found a lot of foods, and he's kind of intertwining that with some of the styles and how what he learned here in the States originally from craft beer, and how he's meshing that together. And one of the main topics was how he got a sourdough yeast from a bakery that's been really like working on this yeast for years, I guess, and he's making kind of one of the first sours. And they said it's not quite. It's really weird. It's got a very very thick mouthfeel. They talk about how he had a bunch of kind of like what they call beer geeks, quote unquote, come down check it out, and they were just like they didn't know even how to get it, and they also had some local beer geek guys from Hong Kong, and they were able to pick up a lot of the notes that were how would you say local to that.
The
Yeah,
indigenous flavors.
exactly. Yeah, indigenous flavors to their kind of cuisine, and they kind of picked up on these, some of these notes within the beer.
That's
And yeah, it's just pretty cool, and it goes to show you how look how fast that's developing, and also how he found room in the market over there. He noticed that there wasn't that originally. I think he said when he opened the brewery, when they opened Young Master Ales, there was only 3 craft breweries there,
It's got to
and that
be
was
rough.
including
It's got to be rough
his.
though. Sorry,
No,
Freddie.
it's okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's got to be rough. I mean, I know from my experience, my recent experiences, trying IPAs for the first time, trying all the brand new textures and flavors.
Yep.
It's got to be rough to say there is a potential for this.
Yep.
I mean, but at the same time, Linda, that's also awesome. That's the awesome thing about craft beer, right? Is that there may actually be a market for that, and the beauty of craft beer is if that doesn't work in the American market, take it to China. It might work in the Chinese market. This
Yep.
beer made this, and take it to Hong Kong. This beer made with no one's ever made not that I know of, a beer with sourdough yeast. But
Yeah.
if that works for them, so be it. That's the beauty of craft beer. The versatility of craft beer is bar none. I mean, one of the most versatile food or beverages in in the world almost. I guess one could argue that point. It's definitely more versatile than wine. I'll tell you that right now.
Absolutely. Freddie, did the article mention anything about alcohol content?
No, not necessarily like any like regulations. There was some. I found actually because while I was looking around, I kind of Googled him and I found other articles that were based like late last year, early this year, and basically to go with how he said there was like room in the market and how it goes to show you like he won a home brewing competition in Hong Kong,
Right.
which goes to show you that that was already active there. Like, people already
Yeah.
tried that, and that's kind of what pushed him towards that. Like, he's like, all right, they kind of want that. Plus, he also talks how China accounts for a quarter of the world's beer volume and
Oh.
only a tenth of the revenue. That just makes up that's only 3% of the global profit pool, according to Dutch Bank.
So so it's a great idea. They're making their own.
Yeah. So he's really pushing for that again to bring it out locally. Plus, he saw like how it almost accounts for like how people just like they like beer, but also you see how they're not going to spend money on like or bigger bucks on some of the bigger macro breweries, you know.
I'll tell you what, man. To win a homebrew contest in I know Hong Kong is a city state, but considering the population of China, it was probably 3 million people in that competition, and he won it. So that says a lot about his brewing acumen.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, I can only they go and link more about it, but he's brewing. He had a cool one. He brewed I can tell you the exact style of it right now, but it's actually here we go. So he's got it's a wine style beer aged in rye whiskey barrels. And it just says, it doesn't really tell you why, but basically, so his son's name, so it's rye whiskey barrels, and his son's name is Rye as well. Yeah. So basically, the beer was brewed on the day it started being brewed the day his son was born.
Oh.
It was released on his first birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I mean, again, like it's weird little things like that. He's saying that it's not really known out there, and people kind of drawing in. It's from what it seems like in the article, it's really picking up popularity over there.
They could come up with brand new styles we've never heard of before.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they're doing tours now. In the article, he's saying that they're doing tours. Like on Saturdays, they hold tastings. It's pretty cool, man. It's really the growler fills. So he's bringing a lot of the U.S. stuff over there. The bottling, growler fills. He's really just bringing that craft beer experience, that U.S. craft beer experience to Hong Kong.
So it definitely sounds like the craft beer scene, probably not just Hong Kong, I would guess probably all of China, is definitely an emerging market there. So,
Absolutely.
with people like Firestone Walker and Boulevard and Omegang all kind of being in bed with Duvel, and with founders being in bed with what's it, San Miguel, whatever they are, out of Spain.
Yeah, Spain.
You probably start seeing a lot more American craft beer expanding into places like China because of the market there, right? And
Well, think about that too. It's like he's not Chinese. He's from New Delhi. He's Indian.
right. Also,
Originally,
there you go.
What's even crazier, you know what I mean? So he's already like, he's multiplying these things you're just not known for, or he's really going out there.
Hong Kong's a very international city because it's a port and it used to be part of England, so it kind of already has a lot of culture, so it doesn't surprise me that it's happening there.
So if you can get a foothold there, then that culture, the amalgamation of a bunch of individual cultures starts branching out in their own veins and going even more, out into these countries where craft beer may not be as big. There's just so much more potential there for craft beer, in my opinion. The article that I have speaks about recent lawsuits in craft beer, and the title of the article is "Craft Beer's Recent Spate of Lawsuits Has Beer Drinkers Hopping Mad." But I guess pun intended there.
Yep.
And the article started talking about port brewing out of California. They sued Moylan's Brewing of California, and when they did that, the public backlash was incredible. And the guy that owned Port Brewing, Tommy Arthur, he's basically said that he that's the last thing he expected. And I mean, I think we kind of start seeing that more and more these days with a lot of litigation, and it seems to only revolve around trademark infringements, right? Or rather be a font, or
Yes.
rather be the name of a beer. And I think a part of the craft beer community gets riled up every single time something like that happens. I happen to be a part of that part of the craft beer community, and there's part of the community that says, you know, they have a right to defend their trademark because trademark laws says that you have the responsibility to defend your trademark. The government isn't going to defend it for you. So if you suspect trademark violation, it's the onus of the originating company to defend their trademark. But I mean, I think a lot of it, I think they go too far. And one of the articles that they talk about is when Lagunitas sued Sierra Nevada for their font of IPA on their packaging.
Yes. Yes.
And that particular part of the article, they go on to talk about the court of public opinion. Now, I don't know if y'all remember when Lagunitas brought that lawsuit against Sierra Nevada, but Tony McGee got dragged on Twitter. Like, I mean,
Destroyed.
social media like crucified him, and he ended up pulling the lawsuit because I mean, maybe in his mind he felt like he had a true legitimate gripe against Sierra Nevada because maybe he really did think the font was very similar to theirs. Me personally, when I see that Lagunitas IPA, that trademark, that unquestioned Lagunitas IPA font, and then I see the Sierra Nevada IPA font, they don't even look remotely close. And I think that that's why social media had such a massive response, because it's one thing to have a valid lawsuit against a brewery or against anybody, right? But to have a lawsuit that appears to come across as baseless means it comes across as just you being a litigious person and you just like to sue for the sake of suing.
Or you're using it as a weapon against another business. That's wrong.
Undermine another business.
And Linda, to that point, the article goes on to talk about how, like, we kind of in the world of beer, that's no pun intended, no plug for world of beer.
No
But let me tell you back. In the world of craft beer, oh, no, I take it back. In the world of beer, period, us craft drinkers, we feel like the little guys, right, going up against these conglomerates. Well, the David versus Goliath theory, right, where the example they spoke about was when Bell's brought lawsuit against this brewery in North Carolina called Innovation Brewing. Now, Bell's is a heavy hitter in the craft beer industry. They've been around for a while. They're very popular. They make some really high hyped beers, Hop Slam to be one. They brought suit against Innovation Brewing, not because of a beer name, not because of a font, but because of Innovation Brewing Company's name. Their name being Innovation Brewing Company, Bell's Brewing sued them because of their name. Why? Because Bell's has a slogan that me and many other craft beer folks have never heard of. Says bottling innovation since 1985, and they thought that would make people, the Innovation Brewing, their name would make people get confused with Bell's. What? That's
not the same thing.
Bickering.
That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, nobody even knew that was Bell's slogan. And furthermore, why would I? You're assuming that I'm stupid, right? If you think that I'm gonna read your slogan and get your slogan mixed up with a whole nother brewery, you think that I'm not smart enough to know the difference between Bell's slogan and up in Michigan and Innovation Brewing down in North Carolina, who probably makes less than a tenth of the volume of beer that Bell's made.
How ridiculous is that? Who in their right mind looks at a beer or identifies a beer with their slogan? You don't say, like, I'm going to go buy Innovating a beer in a bottle since 1990 or Lagunitas IPA.
Right, exactly. That's exactly the
Yeah,
point.
it's ridiculous.
And I think that's what the average craft beer person is getting tired of. They're tired of that stuff. They want to see more instead of seeing this like it's like family bickering, right?
Yeah,
Instead
yeah,
of seeing this family bickering, especially over nonsense, let's not. Why not just collaborate more than litigate?
yeah.
Like
Exactly. We
who
want to tell everybody at the Thanksgiving table, just shut up.
right?
Be
Especially
nice
Who
to
we
each
have
other.
who was it? I think it was Avery and Russian River. I had to look at the bottle. I knew I had a bottle behind me. It was Avery and Russian River. They had, I guess, they were a name of a beer that was the same between the two of them. And instead of going to court and wasting money on both sides, they just decided to brew the beer together.
that's
And they called it collaboration, not litigation.
There
We
you go.
need
Yeah.
more of that. We
Absolutely.
need more of that. I mean, y'all remember the case with the brewery out of Lexington, Kentucky, West Six,
yes,
and then
cat, yes.
Magic Hat sued them because they said the six on West Six logo looked
Look
like
like the
the nine on Magic Hat's number nine.
yep.
Eh, Come on, man. Do you really think that we care? We
You,
don't.
the big conglomerates do that enough. We don't need it in there.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So I mean, the craft beer, the culture of craft beer, I like to think that it's inclusive, but I'm gonna caveat that.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna caveat that with my thoughts in my own head. But nonetheless, the average craft beer fan, in my opinion, and we're not a monolithic group of people. I don't want to say that I'm speaking for everybody, but I like to think that the average craft beer fan would like to see less litigation, less frivolous lawsuits, unless it's something like, um, Deschutes has a beer called the Abyss, and then another brewery brews an imperial stout and call it the Abyss with a similar. Unless it's
Yeah.
something obvious like that. I mean, nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see the beer that they love get going through this type of bull crap. And craft beer needs less of that. We need more of everything, just about more of everything else, and less of these ridiculous lawsuits. And I guess along those lines, we can also talk real quick about since some of the different factions of craft beer drinkers, breweries that sell out. Now, I'll say this: I used to be in the camp of, oh man, don't sell out. Pfft, why would you do that? Stay true to the craft. You know what I'm saying? It's about that craft life. But Ballast Point got offered $1 billion,
I know.
and I was like, you offered me $1 billion.
Things have
I'm
changed.
You
I'm
can have my
gone.
baby.
I'm gone. I'm signing that. I'm gonna sign. If I am that passionate about craft beer, you offer me $1 billion, I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna ride out, lay low, because I'm sure you got a no compete clause in that contract. And as soon as that no complete clause is a wrap, I'm opening up another craft brewery. You know why? Because I got a lot of money to do it, and I got the passion to do it. So it shouldn't be a problem, right? You got connects, you got money, you know how to do it. Sell out. And we fail to realize that these people oftentimes sell out for a reason. If you've been in the game for a long time, you're an older person. You want to start finding a way out. You want to secure your retirement. Hey, you have a legitimate reason to do that. I mean, you got your reasons, right? Or if simply you get offered $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in here probably bought a lottery ticket this week trying to win a
I
billion and a
bought
half.
two.
Well, everybody except for Linda. Linda don't need a Billy, but I need a Billy.
I need
And you
You
offer me a
know,
Billy?
I totally get where you're coming from. If I owned a brewery and I was offered $1 billion, I would take it. But
But yeah,
still, okay, there is AB InBev, Anheuser-Busch out there literally trying to push smaller craft breweries out of the way, and I hate to see that happen.
I
yeah,
do.
I
Hate to see
agree.
it happen.
I agree. But again, I have no problem with selling out beer. Well, I take that back. I have a problem with selling out. If your reasoning is legit, which is not my, it's not my place to approve your reasoning. But when people do this, they have their own reasons. My problem comes from when people like Breckenridge, God bless them, friends to Craft Beer Nation, but they just sold out recently.
Yep.
Was it in December? In February, the owner said that
That's correct.
selling out is he wouldn't sell out. Selling out is not good for craft beer because part of craft beer dies when that happens, and then at 10 months later he gone. That's where I have a
When you
problem.
wave that cash in front of someone,
Right.
it's hard, man.
If you're gonna wave
Inhibitions fall.
if you're gonna wave the banner of craft and say that you're not gonna sell out, I'm gonna expect you not to sell out. And
I
when you
wonder,
do sell out, you can expect a nasty amount of backlash because you brought it upon yourself. So there's that. So
And there is selling out, and then there is joining with other breweries to get your beer farther.
yeah,
alliances and all that.
i.e. Firestone Walker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't be angry at them for doing that.
Right, I am mad at them either because Duvel, in my opinion, is craft. This is Belgian craft beer. I mean, nobody here, no craft beer head is not gonna drink a Golden Drac 9000 if it's put in front of them. All right, so don't even, they're craft beer. So if any breweries watching, if you say that you're not gonna sell out and you sell out, I'm probably gonna say something about you.
I just want to know how
So,
the words tasted. Were they like sour bread when he ate the words?
right, it tastes like crow.
Yeah, and Kona Brewing. If you can go to Brazil, you can get the Cocoa Brown back to Oregon.
You mean the coconut porter?
That Cocoa
Oh no,
Brown.
they do have a cocoa brown. Yeah, you're right.
They do. They no longer bring the Cocoa Brown to Oregon. You can bring your beers to Brazil. You can get the Cocoa Brown back here.
Exactly. You need to stop on the way down there.
That's right.
All right. So I'm gonna move on a little bit. I'm gonna talk about we have a few releases to talk about. And these are all actually these are all very good ones. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
Licking Hole Creek out of Goochland, Virginia, which is about 40 minutes outside of Richmond. Saturday, they're releasing their heir apparent Mexican Spice Imperial Stout. Obviously it's a chili beer with chocolate and chilies. 11.5% Imperial Stout. Silver medal winner at 2015 Great American Beer Festival. I might try to go there. I don't know. I might try.
Have you had it?
Never had it before.
Oh man, it is phenomenal. That beer is so tasty, man.
How does it compare to Mexican cake? That's the standard.
See, that's the thing. It's tough, man. I don't know now. See, because I would hate to say let me go to Untap and look, basically, but
Well, you do that. I'm gonna go on. And I'll come back to you tonight.
it's gonna be tough, man. Damn, I'm trying to think. But go ahead, keep it rolling.
This next one is a brewery that I've actually been to. If only I had known Freddie when I was in Boston, we could have met over at Night Shift out of Everett, Massachusetts, which is like, I guess is that like a Boston suburb?
Yeah, it's maybe 10 minutes outside of Boston.
Okay, they have a beer coming out that's called 11 C's.
Yes.
11 C's.
11
Like
C's.
1 C's, 2 C's, 3 C's, 4 C's, 10 C's, 11 C's. It's a 8.5% apple brandy barrel aged Baltic porter. Yes. Want that.
I think that's for like fourth breakfast, right?
That's coming out on Sunday. Actually, they have that release on the Sunday. So apple brandy barrel aged Baltic
They're having
porter.
that release. I believe they're having a release at a brewery. I'm not sure if it's the brewery actually. I know it's at a. It's like a. I would say it's not like a brew pub, but it's like an established pub.
That sounds like a beer I would expect Jack's Abbey to put out. Because they have that Framing Hammer Baltic Porter, which is incredible.
Yeah.
But this one, it's 8.5%. So I mean, it's probably very drinkable, and that apple brandy barrel tends to impart, a big dose of flavor to the already delicious Baltic Porter. So that's coming out on Sunday at Night Shift Brewing. Bell's Brewing in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Annual release of Hop Slam, their 10% ABV Imperial IPA brewed with honey. This year, it's actually going to be available. Usually, it only comes out in 12-ounce bottles, but this year they're releasing it in 12-ounce cans, and they're going to have mini kegs. I don't know if you've ever gone to the store and see the Newcastle Brown Ale or the Heineken little mini kegs. Now
Pretty
Bell's
cool.
is putting out their Hop Slam and those mini kegs.
Yeah.
That's going to be released here sometime within the next 2 weeks, sometime here in January.
Nice.
And this isn't on a list, but I'm also going to throw this out because it comes out around the same time as Hop Slam. But Trogs out of Hershey, Pennsylvania, they're going to be releasing Nugget Nectar. Technically, well, I think Nugget Nectar clocks in right around 9 or 10%. It's classified as an Imperial Amber Ale, but it's really an Imperial Amber IPA. For accessibility and price, I think that beer is better than Hop Slam.
It's all right.
But I think that beer is
a
actually
lot of people refer to it as Hype Slam.
Hype Slam. That's right. But that beer
good,
usually
man.
comes
It's
out,
good.
I think,
It's
around
good.
the February-ish time frame. But I thought it was worth mentioning. The Shoots out of Bend, Oregon.
Yeah.
All right. So Freddie told me he heard on Facebook today that this particular beer was already out, and I made like 6 phone calls in 6 minutes to 6 different locations trying to see if they had it, but they didn't. It was released on the West Coast already, but it hasn't made its way east.
Yeah.
And the beer that I'm talking about it's the Abyss. That's the regular Abyss right there behind me. But this year they're having 2 special releases. One is going to be 100% aged in cognac barrels, and the other one is going to be 100% aged in rye whiskey barrels.
Mm-mm.
I want all the Abyss, so I'm probably gonna try.
I asked my local to let me know when the cognac barrel comes in, as I want it. I want it
Linda,
so
we'll
bad.
talk off air.
I'm sure. I'm sure that's gonna be both of those beer. Well, the regular Abyss is incredible by itself. I like cognac. I like rye whiskey. So these 2 variants have to be amazing. They're both. They're actually gonna. I think that they're gonna be. They've already been released on the West Coast, so either they're gonna be released tomorrow on the West Coast, so it's probably gonna be roughly about 5-7 days before it makes it east to us.
Yeah, because the Shoots had said it was releasing tomorrow, on Friday on the 15th. But from what I've heard, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff because I heard some people say in the state of Washington already got, like you said, the West Coast people already. So, but I mean that's like Bourbon County. Unfortunately, distributors work the way they work, and it has a release date set, and it just goes on shelves when it goes on shelves.
So Linda's gonna be posting pictures of herself drinking it before we even get our hands on it.
I want to chug.
Unfortunately, Portland usually gets it before Corvallis will get it.'re kind of in the dead zone. So.
It's okay.
So, hey Freddie, Madness and Civilization, is that a Hill Farmstead beer as well?
Yes, that was
two
releases they did on the same day.
Okay, so Hill Farmstead out of Greensboro, Bend, Vermont. They had 2 releases that were released on yesterday actually. One was called Works of Love. It was a collaboration with Anchorage Brewing Company out of Anchorage, Alaska. It's a farmstead ale aged or fermented in oak tanks, and they also had Madness and Civilization No. 5 Imperial Stout. It's a blend, so you got to be familiar with Hill Farmstead beers, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
This beer is a blend of Aaron, a blend of Everett, and Works of Love DeMolin, all aged in bourbon barrels for more than 2 years. That was released yesterday.
Wait, let me get this straight. They age them all separately and then they blend them, right?
I don't know.
Or do they blend them and age them in the same barrel?
No, I think exactly. I think they're all aged separately and then blended.
Oh, okay.
It says a blend of, but it doesn't say when it was blended. Rather, before the aging, after the aging. Normally, it's after the aging, but nonetheless, 3 different beers, all aged in bourbon barrels for more than 2 years. So when you get this beer, please drink it.
Yeah, it's like I think I want to say I think Aaron is a barley wine, Everett is a porter, and then they blended that with one of their imperial stouts as well. That's barrel aged, and
Okay.
created a
A incredible beer.
beautiful. Yeah, exactly. I don't even remember. I'm like a beautiful, like
A beautiful
just incredible.
cornucopia of liquid bliss.
Um, so buy 2 of them. Drink one now. The beer's already been aged for 2 years. Buy 2, drink one now. If you want us to age one in the name of science, do it. But this beer is probably ready to go.
It released yesterday, I think.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
And the last one, maybe Lola will get this up in Jacksonville. Funky Buddha out of Oakland Park, Florida, down in South Florida. Their maple bacon coffee porter, 6% ABV. It was already released actually on the 9th. So Lola, I don't know if you haven't seen it up there yet. You probably not. You probably won't be seeing it then.
Probably not.
Unfortunately.
It's all right.
And
Get down there.
That is.
Last but not least, we have gone on for nearly an hour. We'll just talk about 2 festivals real quick that are both happening this weekend. Freddie was speaking earlier about a beer from up in Maine. He's actually drinking it right now. Bissell Brothers is what Freddie's drinking. Those guys are knocking. This Bissell Brothers Swish. It's a New England style IPA. Very turbid. Looks like juice. Looks like orange juice. And they're having their 2nd anniversary party at the brewery on Saturday. So go and check them out. And in San Diego on Saturday as well, they have the San Diego Beer Fest. If you know anything about San Diego, you know that Beer Fest is going to be jizammed. Yep. It's going to have everything. So go get you some beer from the San Diego Beer Fest. And that said, thank you all for joining us. Be sure to join us next week when, as I said earlier, we have Neo Whittion, who's one of the 9, I think. Is it 9 now or 10? I don't know, certified master cicerones in the world. This guy knows his stuff. We'll probably have on the comment tracker, so if anybody's watching, you want to ask him some questions, we'll be more than happy to do that. Yep. But be sure to join us so you can see our interview with him next week. And until then, remember everybody, find some great friends, get some great beer, and mind those P's and Q's.
We're back.
Cheers.